Episode 58. What normal woman wouldn't have her heart race in a situation like this? What was he going to talk about? Was it about the company? The brand? Or, never in her wildest dreams did Tan Hua think Nan Shen was about to confess. She assumed, just like in the dramas, that Nan Shen loved Mishu, not her. That's why she was still completely clueless about what was coming next. Listen, actually, Isla. Nan Shen had finally gathered the courage to speak and tightened his grip on Tan Hua's hand, when suddenly, splat! Out of nowhere, something white and sticky landed on his head, stopping his words instantly as it slid down onto his forehead. What the? Nan Shen slowly reached up, touching the sticky substance on his hair, while Tan Hua, witnessing the scene, burst into laughter. Be big, bro, there's, something on your head, it's… Tan Hua had seen exactly what happened, but she was laughing so hard she could barely speak. What? What is it? Nan Shen grabbed his hair and looked down at his hand, which was now covered in the white, sticky mess. A second later, a terrible smell hit his nose. Only a fool wouldn't recognize what it was. And Nan Shen was no fool. Oh no, it's seagull poop. Realization struck him like a lightning bolt. And the moment it did, Nan Shen fainted on the spot, leaving Tan Hua completely panicked. Big bro. A few hours later, at the hotel. Nan Shen slowly opened his eyes, blinking as he took in the familiar ceiling above him. Where was he? Was this a hotel room? Wait, why was he here? What about the confession? His head still felt dizzy, but the memory of the confession attempt made him force his heavy eyelids open. He bolted upright from the bed. Tan Hu. He called out Tan Hua's name, desperate to know what had happened after everything went dark. The only thing he remembered before blacking out was seagull poop. Big bro. You're awake. Just as Nan Shen recalled that humiliating moment, he heard Tan Hua's voice right beside him. Tan Hu? Nan Shen rubbed his eyes, feeling slightly unsteady, when Tan Hua grabbed his hand and gently helped him sit back down on the bed. Yes, it's me, big bro. The doctor said you need to rest. Tan Hua sighed, recalling everything that had happened after Nan Shen fainted. She never imagined he would be so shocked that he'd actually pass out after realizing what had fallen on his head. What? What happened? Nan Shen touched his head, trying to piece together his last memories. Slowly, everything came back to him. The sunset, the confession, and then… What happened to him, really? You fainted after a seagull dropped its poop on your head. Tan Hua sighed, telling Nan Shen the truth while worrying whether he might faint from shock again. Seagull poop? Fainted? Wait, what about the confession? I fainted after I saw the seagull poop. Nan Shen stood up in disbelief. His perfect confession plan had been ruined by a mere seagull poop. Wait, it wasn't just a mere problem. This was a disaster. Yes, big brother, you did faint. Tan Hua shook her head, seeing how shocked he looked. Now she was curious what was he about to say before he fainted? It seemed pretty important. Hearing Tan Hua's words, Nan Shen couldn't help but grab his hair in frustration. How could this happen? He hadn't even confessed yet, and he fainted. It was already nighttime now. The perfect moment for his confession was gone. All his careful planning. Wasted. Nan Shen was so overwhelmed that he fell back onto the bed, nearly giving Tan Hua a heart attack. Big brother? What happened? Are you all right? Tan Hua panicked, seeing his pale face as he collapsed back. Was he really that shocked just from learning he got seagull poop on his head? I'm tired. Nan Shen felt all his energy leave his body as he realized his confession plan had completely failed. He had planned this for a whole week, convinced everything would go perfectly. Yet it was all ruined because of a seagull poop. The doctor said you're too exhausted. You need to rest properly. Seeing that Nan Shen was still responsive, Tan Hua sighed in relief. She had been worried that he was seriously ill. The doctor had mentioned that he was overworked, which had weakened his body. Hearing that, Tan Hua remembered that, aside from his usual responsibilities, Nan Shen had also been helping her with her brand. A wave of guilt washed over her as she watched him sleep. All right, forget it. Nan Shen is awake now, everything will be fine. She had no idea that Nan Shen had been working late nights for weeks just to plan this vacation, leaving him completely exhausted. It was a miracle he hadn't ended up in the hospital with how much he had overworked himself. Let's eat dinner first. Nan Shen felt tired and wanted to sleep, but suddenly he realized he was starving. It was already 7 p.m. He really needed to eat. Let's eat together. I haven't eaten either. Oh, Mi Shu and Ren Yuan won't be joining us. They're away on other business. Tan Hua stood up and helped Nan Shen get up as well. Truthfully, she had no idea where those two had disappeared to. She had been invited to go with them, but she refused, not wanting to feel like a third wheel. Plus, Nan Shen hadn't woken up yet. Still, those two seemed suspicious. It must have been Ren Yuan's idea to take Mi Shu out. Maybe they were having a fancy dinner on a luxury cruise? Nan Shen sighed. He had originally planned to take Tan Hua on a romantic dinner cruise, enjoying the beautiful night view together. But now, with his body too weak, he was stuck eating in the hotel instead. This is not romantic at all. Nan Shen's mood was at an all-time low until his eyes landed on Tan Hua. She was wearing a soft purplish sleeveless dress, with a golden belt at the waist, looking incredibly elegant for the night. She looked adorable. Nan Shen's mood instantly lifted. Her hair was styled in a simple bun, something he had never seen before, making her look even more charming. Well, even if he couldn't take her on a fancy dinner cruise, just seeing her like this was enough. Hotel restaurant. How's the food? Nan Shen asked tearfully as they ate steak at the table. It's delicious. Tan Hua hadn't eaten meat in a long time. And now that she had the chance to enjoy expensive steak again, she was practically moved to tears. Oh, my Nan Shen was the best boss ever. Watching her eat like a little squirrel, Nan Shen couldn't resist the urge to capture the moment. She was just too cute. He discreetly pulled out his phone and aimed it at her, pretending to take a selfie. Selfie? Tan Hua tilted her head slightly, a piece of meat still in her mouth, making her cheeks puff up like a squirrel's. It was rare to see Nan Shen take a selfie. Oh well, never mind. She continued eating. Poor girl had no idea the cunning man beside her had already taken multiple pictures of her. A true fake selfie. After dinner, the food was delicious. Tan Hua stroked her belly as she walked back to her room with Nan Shen beside her. Yep, good thing you liked it. Nan Shen smiled, pleased with her reaction. They were chatting about how delicious the food was when suddenly, they heard someone calling Tan Hua's name. Tan Hua? What a coincidence. The voice belonged to none other than Shenling. It seemed he had finished his work for the day and was heading back to his room when he spotted Tan Hua in the corridor. Shenling. You finished your work? Seeing Shenling, Dan Hua immediately left Nan Shen behind to approach him, making Nan Shen boil with irritation. Yep, I'm done. Where are you going? Shenling noticed Nan Shen's expression darken when he saw him. Instead of feeling guilty, he smirked and lifted his chin high. Hey, Tan Hua would always choose him over Nan Shen. He was a genius, after all. We're going back to our room, Tan Hua answered innocently. It had been a long time since she last talked to Shenling, and she kind of missed him. Oh, I want to see your room. Let's go together. Shenling, who had been about to enter his own room, immediately closed the door upon hearing that Tan Hua was heading back to hers. Of course, he only wanted to make sure her room was tidy since she was hopeless without him. It wasn't because he wanted to spend more time with her, absolutely not. What? Before Tan Hua could nod and say yes, Nan Shen immediately interrupted, his shock evident. Going to Tan Hua's room? That meant Shenling would find out that she was sharing a room with him? Wait, this was dangerous for his plan. What? Don't shout. Although Shenling technically worked for Nan Shen's company, he didn't bother showing him the slightest respect. Why should he? He was brilliant, after all. Why would a genius like him have to bow to a mere businessman? No way. Wait, don't. Nan Shen desperately wanted to stop Shenling, but the oblivious Tan Hua had already led him to her room, which was also Nan Shen's room. The sight nearly made Nan Shen faint again. No. This is your room? Why are there men's belongings inside? Shenling casually strolled in, then frowned when he spotted Nan Shen's things. Nan Shen also sleeps here. There were no vacant rooms. Tan Hua shrugged, feeling a little disappointed. She had hoped for a room of her own. How could she sleep peacefully when she had to share a room with the man she loved? Even though the beds were separate, they were still in the same space. I see. Wait, what? You sleep with Nan Shen? The moment Shenling heard this, Nan Shen, who had just reached the door, almost tripped and fell. Nan Shen. Oh no. Why did she say that? Yes? Tan Hua flinched at Shenling's loud outburst, as if an earthquake had just struck. Nan Shen, we need to talk. Shenling didn't even acknowledge Tan Hua as he turned to Nan Shen, who was already preparing to escape, but it was too late. Shenling grabbed Nan Shen's collar, his smile turning sharp while Nan Shen forced a nervous grin, trying to calm him down. This scene shocked Tanhua. She had never seen Nan Shen act like this in front of anyone. Could it be Nan Shen was afraid of Shenling? Oh, he definitely was. His carefully planned strategy had just been exposed. He and Shenling had promised not to put Tanhua in an awkward situation while she was still dealing with her circumstances. Now, Nan Shen had broken that promise. He was in trouble. It's because there were no vacant rooms left, and Ren Yuan wanted to sleep alone. Nan Shen quickly tried to explain as Shenling dragged him further away. Excuses. What were you thinking? I don't care about your plans, but don't involve Tanhua. And why is she in her real appearance now? Shenling ignored Nan Shen's excuses and immediately scolded him until his throat went dry. Nan Shen averted his gaze as Shenling gripped his collar, ready to scold him further. Okay, maybe he was at fault for trying to get closer to Tanhua this way, but come on. He just wanted a chance with the girl he loved. Move her to my room, and I'll sleep in yours tonight. No more excuses. Shenling's voice rang through the hallway, making Nan Shen's face turn pale. What? If that happened, he wouldn't be able to carry out his plan at all. Wait, but… Nan Shen wanted to plead with Shenling to change his mind, but alas, Shenling had already walked up to Tanhua with a key in his hand. Tap tap tap. Wait. You're too fast. Nan Shen saw Shenling walking away at a quick pace. He wanted to chase after him, but unfortunately, he was still weak and couldn't keep up. Tanhua's room. Tanhua was sitting on her bed, playing with her phone when the door to her room suddenly opened. She turned her head and saw Shenling standing in front of her. Oh, Shenling is back. Tanhua, pack up your stuff. We're exchanging rooms. Shenling had already arrived at Tanhua's room while Nan Shen was still struggling to catch up. He immediately approached her and handed over his room key, leaving her with a dumbfounded expression. Pack up her stuff and exchange rooms with Shenling? It sounded great, but what exactly had happened? Why so suddenly? Tanhua felt relieved if she was really going to get her own room. But at the same time, she was curious about what had transpired between Shenling and Nan Shen that led to this offer. I figured you would want a separate room for yourself. Anyway, I also have something to discuss with Nan Shen, so hurry and pack up. Shenling didn't explain his reasoning further. He simply instructed her to pack quickly and move to his room. Tanhua wanted to ask more, but one look at Shenling's firm gaze made her hesitate. With no other choice, she obediently nodded and began packing her things. Just then, Nan Shen finally arrived at the door, breathless. Wait. Leaning against the wall to catch his breath, he saw that Tanhua had already finished packing. What? Shenling had already convinced her to exchange rooms? Oh no. What? Is there something wrong? Shenling raised an eyebrow as he looked at Nan Shen. No. But… Nan Shen saw that Tanhua was ready to leave and grew anxious. He had planned a small surprise for her that night, something that would be easier to do if they were in the same room. But now that she was moving, it would be much harder. Not to mention, he wasn't feeling well. No, but… Now go to my room, Tanhua. Ignoring Nan Shen, Shenling placed a firm hand on Tanhua's shoulder and guided her toward his room, leaving Nan Shen staring at the now empty space. Darn it. That Shenling ruined his entire plan. That night, Shenling slept in Nan Shen's room. But the two of them didn't exchange a single word. A cold silence hung between them, as if they were in the middle of an unspoken war. The next morning. Let's have breakfast. By morning, Nan Shen was already standing in front of Tanhua's door, making sure she was awake. This was his chance to get close to her again. That troublesome Shenling had left before sunrise for a photo shoot session, so he still hadn't returned. Finally, Nan Shen had a moment alone with Tanhua. As for Ren Yuan and Mishu, he had already told Ren Yuan not to show up for breakfast at this time. All right. Tanhua had already dressed up, wearing a light yellow one-piece dress with sunflower patterns on the skirt. She looked bright and cheerful, her blonde hair glowing under the soft morning light. Hotel restaurant. Tanhua and Nan Shen had just settled at their table after selecting their meals when someone called out to them. Tanhua. What a coincidence. Oh, and Nan Shen too. This time, it wasn't Shenling interrupting them. It was the ever-annoying Lan Yanjin. Seeing him, Nan Shen nearly choked on air. Why was there always someone getting in the way of his alone time with Tanhua? Oh, hey. Before Tanhua could even finish greeting him, Nan Shen suddenly stood up, grabbed her hand, and started pulling her away from the table. Both Tan Hua and Lan Yanjin were caught off guard. What is wrong with Nan Shen? What the? Lan Yanjin stood frozen, watching as Tan Hua disappeared with Nan Shen. He had just wanted to have a simple conversation with her, but she had been whisked away. Tap tap tap. Wait, the food. Tan Hua wasn't particularly upset about leaving Lan Yanjin behind, but her eyes lingered on the untouched meal she had taken earlier. It had all been expensive. We're changing places. Nan Shen had had enough. Without hesitation, he pulled out his phone, sent a message to Ren Yuan, and then ushered Tan Hua into a car that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Blam. Wait, what are you doing? And where are we going? Tan Hua was confused by Nan Shen's sudden behavior. She was already shocked when a car appeared out of nowhere, but she was even more surprised when Nan Shen pushed her inside. Just sit tight and rest. Even though it was still morning, Nan Shen ordered Tan Hua to relax as he sat beside her while driving. Our rest? Tan Hua was taken aback when she noticed Nan Shen's expression wasn't good at all. He looked annoyed. What was wrong with him? And why did she have to rest? It was morning. Tan Hua had no idea where Nan Shen was taking her, but she knew he wouldn't harm her. So instead of questioning him further, she decided to stay quiet and try to relax. Judging by his expression, she was afraid he might snap if she kept asking questions. And if he did, who knew what he would do? Maybe throw her out of the car? No way, she didn't want that. 30 minutes later. We're here. Nan Shen stopped the car in front of a luxurious villa, not far from the beach, but still quite a distance from the ER hotel. Tan Hua hadn't slept along the way. She had been admiring the scenery outside. But now that they had arrived in front of a villa, she was even more confused. A villa? Nan Shen's villa? Wait, if he had a villa, why had they booked a hotel in the first place? Get down. Nan Shen opened the car door and motioned for Tan Hua to step out. He was already standing outside, waiting for her. Clap. What are we doing here? Tan Hua hurriedly got out of the car and carefully asked the question that had been bothering her. We'll spend the rest of our stay here. Nan Shen nearly blurted out the rest of our lives, but he caught himself just in time. He hadn't even confessed to her yet, let alone talked about marriage. Wait, what? But our stuff is still at the hotel. Tan Hua was immediately flustered, but Nan Shen remained calm as he opened the villa door. Don't worry. My men will bring our things here. Ren Yuan and Mi Shu will follow us as well. Nan Shen pushed open the door and, once again, took Tan Hua's wrist, gently guiding her inside. Wow. So beautiful. Upon entering the villa, Tan Hua couldn't help but gasp in admiration. She had seen many beautiful and luxurious buildings in her original world. Her family also owned a villa, but seeing Nan Shen's still made her want to praise it. The villa had a nature-inspired ambiance. The floors were wooden, while the walls had soft green wallpaper, decorated with floral and plant motifs. It felt like stepping into a serene retreat. You like this place? Nan Shen saw the admiration in Tan Hua's eyes, and a smile unconsciously appeared on his face. If she liked it, maybe one day, it could be hers. Nan Shen shook his head, trying to stay composed as he guided her to her room. Truth be told, he didn't really want to stay in this villa. Despite its charm, he preferred hotels. Why? Because this villa had 4 or 5 rooms in total. That meant he had no excuse to make Tan Hua sleep in the same room as him. But given the circumstances, he had no choice but to move here. There were just too many distractions back at the R hotel. 15 minutes later. Hey, let's go somewhere. It had been about 20 minutes since they arrived. Their luggage had been delivered 10 minutes ago, and now that Tan Hua had arranged her things, she had nothing else to do. Go where? Nan Shen, who was lounging on the living room sofa, flinched at her words. Wait a minute. He had worked so hard to create some alone time with her. If they went out now, wouldn't they run into other people? Not to mention, with their luck, they would probably bump into either Shen Ling or Lan Yanjin. To the beach? Or shopping? Tan Hua tilted her head as she spoke. She wanted to visit a shopping mall and see if her product was being sold in this country. Tan Hua, I think I'm not feeling well. Seeing that she was eager to go out, Nan Shen immediately went to plan B. At this point, he had no other way to make her stay. The only solution? Act sick. Really? Hurry, go to bed. We're not going anywhere until you feel better. Tan Hua's face filled with concern the moment she heard him say he wasn't feeling well. The doctor had told him to rest, but instead he had driven 30 minutes away from the hotel. Of course, he would be exhausted. All right. Nan Shen put on his best acting skills, looking as weak as possible, even though, truthfully, he was feeling a bit tired. Dragging himself toward his room, he smirked internally. Success. Just rest. Tanhua laid Nan Shen down on his bed and carefully covered him with a blanket. Men, I'm sorry we can't go out. Nan Shen looked at Tanhua with meek eyes as he apologized. At this moment, he seemed so different, so tame, like a gentle lamb. It was a stark contrast to his usual confident demeanor. Tanhua's heart fluttered. Why did he have to look so adorable when he was sick? But still, seeing him like this, so vulnerable, she couldn't just leave him alone. It's okay. Tanhua giggled as she fetched a chair and sat down next to his bed. She didn't have anything else to do, so she figured she could wait until Nan Shen felt better while reading an online novel. 10 minutes later. Tanhua, I want to eat an apple. Nan Shen turned his body toward her, his eyes pleading softly. Eh? Apple? Do you have one here? Tanhua immediately put down her phone when she heard his voice. She had thought he was already asleep. Yes, just go to the kitchen on the first floor. Open the refrigerator, and you'll find fresh apples there. Nan Shen yawned as he tugged the blanket, trying to get comfortable. All right. Tanhua stood up and went downstairs to find the apple Nan Shen wanted. She would have to cut it, right? Hopefully, she could manage. She had never really stepped into a kitchen before. In the kitchen. Oh, here it is, the apple. Tanhua found the apple after opening the refrigerator. Now she just needed a knife. Knife. Here it is? She reached for the knife, but the moment her eyes landed on its sharp edge, her body froze. A memory flashed in her mind. The time when the kidnapper had stabbed her leg. The scene replayed vividly, like a movie running on an endless loop. Tanhua shuddered. She didn't understand why, but her body trembled just from looking at the knife. She hadn't realized she had this reaction. She hadn't seen a knife in months. But now, why did it suddenly feel so terrifying? Sweat dampened her face and back as she stared at the sharp edge. She knew it was just a knife. She needed it to cut the apple. But still, blam. Tanhua subconsciously slammed the drawer shut and sank to the floor, exhaustion washing over her. The stabbing scene kept replaying in her mind, even though the knife was now out of sight. Stop. Help. She clutched her head and curled up, trembling. She could almost feel the pain again, the sharp, unbearable sting in her leg. Even though she wasn't hurt, the memory wouldn't fade. Upstairs. She's taking too long. Did something happen? It had been 15 minutes, and Tanhua still hadn't returned. Nan Shen frowned. Could she have hurt herself?